Welcome to episode 27. This is the House of COD. Let's talk about the RumbleBee, which is the Impala's engine.
Actually, it starts off with me picking up the engine that's, what is it? Jason's dad was selling as a 350 block or so. And came with the engine stand and all this that you see. And I ended up purchasing this one. It's from a 71 K10 or something to that effect. And eventually what ended up happening was that I ended up going to get it dropped off. That took several months. It took a good while, but then after a few months I was able to get it back, and guess what? I was able to start some of the bottom end. Here are the rods, for example, on that. I ended up getting it assembled, the lower end. I ended up painting the block yellow. I remember when I was looking in the parts store, O'Reilly's, and I was thinking about what color to paint it, and then I was like, maybe I could paint it purple, but then I was like, no, purple doesn't really go for anything. You just have a lot of purple everywhere else. Purple works with a purple car, I think. But the yellow, remember Jason was saying, he wouldn't mind if we were to paint the engine black yellow, engine black or the engine yellow, kind of like a homage to his dad and Cat. I was like, okay, I told him I'd consider it. And I thought about it, I was like, yellow might be an option, but I was looking at all the other colors and even considered Ford blue, and I was like, you know what? Between purple and yellow, I'd rather go with yellow, and it kind of checks off a box with Jason too. Here we have is the racing pen, which Jason was very much against me getting. I remember he's making a fuss about it. You don't need a racing pan, blah 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 blah. What do you need a racing pan for? I told him I wanted a oil pan with more core capacity, 6 quarts, which is a Summit brand one, and it came painted. I ended up repainting it high temp semi-gloss Ford black, and I wanted an oil pan with baffling and a windage tray, and this is what this has. So it worked out for my purposes. I wanted the extra provisions for that.
Here's the water pump. Aluminum Y-end or V-end, I don't know how it's supposed to be, but either way, it was kind of yellowed, so I cleaned it up and then sanded it, brushed it off or whatever. It looks nice, as is, but it's just gonna get black over time, so I'm gonna repaint it. Here's the water pump. It is done.
Yep, look at this shit.
The exposure went crazy. So I didn't use primer. I thought I did. Paint's coming off here.
And here you see the new rocker covers I got. I got them from Summit at a fair price. I think they're $32. They're very they're very nice. They're high quality. I think they're worth it. They came painted black. Initially, I was going to use the 327 rocker covers. After I'd already prepped them and everything, I then realized they had no provisions for a breather, because the 327 block has that breather provision in the block, the 71. 350 block does not, so I wasted a bunch of time doing that. Good times.
They came out pretty well as far as color. However, as I suspected, because of the slight, it wasn't very flat. Oh, look at that. That's cool. So that effect you can see here. Actually, let's see. That's ultimately kind of what I was going for right here. Let me move this over here. I was going for that right there. But as I suspected, because it wasn't really close, it didn't come out very well, as you can see here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to give it another coat of yellow because it's still too thin. So the problem with light colors is you have to go kind of thick in order to get the color depth that you need, otherwise it's too thin. So you can, from afar, you can see that it looks fine, it looks really nice. As you get closer, you can kind of see it's a little green, but that green is actually a mixing of the yellow and gray primer, so it gives a green hue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these again, give it another coat or two. I'm going to start with thin coats, see what that looks like, 2 thin coats, and then a medium coat. But what I'm also going to do is, after they're cured for like 48 hours, I'm going to use this again. I'm going to get some wire, go through these edges right here. Actually, let me take it back. I'm going to tape this off here, tape off the entire body, just leave this strip right here. This beveled edge, this raised edge here, and leave that exposed after it's been repainted. I'm going to grab this guy, I'm going to run wire through here, go through the bolts hole here. I'm going to secure it, making sure it's real snug and tight. That way it's pressing up against.
Here you can see the, honeycomb mesh that I got. And on top of it, and rather the bottom, you can see that I ended up wire tying all of it down here, down below. That took a long time, surprisingly. Either that or I'm just really slow. I'm not sure which one it is. But that turned out really effective for what you're about to see. They came out well enough, as well as I thought they could. And you can see some of the patterns on that didn't stick or was close enough. But interestingly enough, compared to this versus what you saw with the shadows casted, this actually kind of works well and is a realistic representation, because the honeycombs, where all the wax is, it's darker in the center, which is like this. So it worked out. And here you see the heads on the block. The heads, I ended up taking them to a local shop, Mark G's machine shop in Buda. And so he ended up cleaning it out, told him, do what you need to do. He didn't have to take anything off of the heads, they were fine. He cleaned them up, he addressed some of the concerns he had.